Hello and welcome to Career Center. I'm Kimberly White, Executive Director of the Community Career Center, a resource center located in Naperville for people in career transition. Today on Career Center, we will discuss ways to build confidence, empower, and motivate. I am thrilled to have Certified Life Coach Nicole Comis and Life and Empowerment Coach Terrie Vanover as my guests today. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you two said yes. So, before we start talking about what is a life coach and what prompted you to go down that path, share a little bit about who you are and what you do. So, Nicole, I'll start with you.
Oh my goodness. Well, my name's Nicole Comis, and I support people in creating lives that they love. You know, I believe that we all, we've got one life and we should enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And Terrie?
So my name is Terrie Vanover, and my business is Choosing to Rise, and I work with women to help them create amazing lives. And before this, I was in education, and I found this calling that I wanted to become a life coach, because after my divorce, I really struggled and needed to find a new path, and so I wanted to help other women find their life purpose.
Okay, all right, great. So what is a life coach, and what prompted you to want to do that?
Well, for me, I believe that we have a whole life, right? We're not just a part of our life. And so a lot of people come to a life coach, at least in my experience, for career goals or for personal goals. And my belief is if you have a career goal that you want to achieve, you are more efficient and more productive if we work on every area of your life. Because if you look at a circle, right, and you cut it into pie pieces, if one of those other pieces aren't fulfilled, that it weighs you down while you're trying to achieve your career goals.
So you don't really talk about career goals until you delve into everything else?
It's all together.
It's all together.
Yeah, because your life is integrated.
Okay.
So it's your personal life and your career and your health and your well-being. And I truly believe our well-being is the foundation of everything we do. If we're not giving our body the nutrients it needs or hydrating it or activity,
it affects kind of everything. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. Nicole's right. When your personal life is dragging you down, it's going to impact your business life. Or when you're unhappy in your professional life, it's going to impact your personal life. And you're right, by implementing strategies and goals to reach the highest level in all of those areas, you're really going to impact your authentic self all around.
Mm-hmm. So what prompted you to? Because did you, when you were, in 8th grade, I want to be a life coach? No?
Mm-hmm. No.
I mean, what was a life coach?
Yeah, what was it? I mean, I'm just, what prompted you? What did something kind of happen in your life that made you want to do this?
Yeah, for me, as I said earlier, it was the divorce. I was a teacher for over 21 years, and after my divorce, I knew that I needed a new direction. I knew I needed a new purpose. I wanted to still teach in a sense, but I wanted to do so in a new capacity, and I wanted to help women and children. I still longed to help women, so I knew I wanted to teach in a new capacity. So I just started to educate myself and do seminars and those types of things. And I was volunteering in a prison with women offenders. And people would come to me and say, oh, like a life coach. You're like a life coach, because I was teaching a lot of those empowerment skills. And I was like, what is that? How do I do that? And sure enough, I, got my certification, got the training, and found that I'm still working with them and still teaching, but in a new capacity. So it's been amazing. It's impacting women and children, but just in a different way.
And then Nicole, for you?
So I was in the mortgage business, and I was in love with my career, totally and completely in love with my career. And the housing market crash happened.
So that was before 2008 you were in love, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I had worked with a life coach in 2003, for about two and a half years, and it completely changed my life. So when I was trying to figure out what the heck was next for me, I actually did some soul searching and hired another life coach. And it was, so it was probably about 5 years after the housing market crash happened. It was about 2013. And I had been very unhappy for 5 years. And I called this life coach in, and it was our second or third
So you were
session.
still in the mortgage business
I was still
during
in the
that
mortgage
time.
business.
Okay.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Just trying, because I had made this commitment, right? I am going to be in this career forever, and I loved my boss. I worked with him for 13 years. This is what I'm supposed to do with my life.
Right.
I didn't know anything other than mortgages and restaurants. And so I thought that's where I had to be. And I met with this life coach. It was our second session, and we were just talking about who I am and what I want and what I love doing. And she looked at me and she goes, "You want to be a life coach?" And I was like, "Oh, you're right." So that's kind of how it happened. I enrolled in a really intense training and development program for coaches, and became certified, and then went on to get certified through the ICF. And 4 years later.
Certification is key. It's really important to have that certification.
It is really important to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there are a lot of if they say coaches, it's true, you don't have to be certified, so it's important, if that is something that is important to you, to check out and make sure your coach has the appropriate certification. The well thought of certification is the ICF, which is kind of the standard for coaches to kind of achieve.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned, I don't know which one of you, I think it was you, Nicole, you mentioned that many of your clients come to you and they have career, it's because of career, not happy in their career, whatever that might be. What is it that you all talk about? Like, what are some things that you share with them to, encourage them to either change jobs? Do you encourage them to stick within their job, and maybe there's some skills they should learn? What is that?
It's not about encouraging them to do anything. It's having conversations with them and asking them the right questions for them to come up with those answers.
Okay.
But first, it's looking at, well, what makes you unhappy? Because chances could be that the things that are making you unhappy in this job will make you unhappy in the next job. And it's looking...
So until you figure that out.
Exactly, because what happens if we don't address the real issue, we're just going to keep carrying that into what's next and what's next, and nothing's ever going to change.
Yeah, so our main goal is really to help you clarify, get real clear on what it is that you're wanting. And you're right, someone might come to you and say they want a new job, but the reality might be it's not the job, it could be something else. And so you don't want to put a Band-Aid on it. You want to go real deep and figure out what's the core issue and how do we get clear on what you really, really want.
Exactly.
And so when you talk about empowerment skills, you were talking about empowerment skills. What are some of those skills?
So it all kind of goes into feeling empowered is really feeling confident and loving who you are. And a lot of people, whether it's in their career, and what Nicole was saying about if your personal life isn't balanced and your professional, it really all goes together. So you can have the most well-put woman, it seems like she's got it all together, and deep down there's some issues and she really doesn't love herself, or she really doesn't feel confident in herself. So some of the skills we work on, it's really all about the client. We really go with what the client needs. It might be a fear. It might be doing some activities and giving some exercises to develop them, or having them come up with exercises to develop themselves and loving themselves and finding out, what do I want? Who do I want to be? How do I want to love myself? What do I need? So that really empowerment is different for every person, but everybody can be empowered.
You said confidence. So that's a big one, right?
Huge.
You see that a lot.
I see it everywhere. I actually just had a conversation with a client last night who is very much lacking in confidence in many areas of her life. And it does start with self-love, right?
Yeah.
And so I told her, practice looking in the mirror and just pick one thing that you like about yourself, whether it's your hair or your eyes or whatever it is, and focus on that until you start to to actually feel it. And it's amazing the change that can happen when you do that type of stuff.
So if someone lacks confidence, I mean, I think it would be really difficult, right? To just, get up and even be successful in like everyday life, work, your work life, across all areas. What are some things that you would share with them in order to build up that confidence?
I have to say, Kim, I'm a very confident person, and that's not something that I necessarily struggled with in my life. But as I was researching for speaking engagements and doing topics for women in leadership, the topic that kept coming up was confidence. And I'm like, women's leadership? How is this a topic? And it was really surprising for me. But the Atlantic Journal has done some research on confidence in women and how it impacts women in particular. For example, because they don't believe in themselves, they're less likely to go after promotions that they're qualified for. They're less likely to go after leadership and management positions. And so that impacts your personal, your professional life. They found that women, when they ask for a raise at the same job as a male counterpart,
bringing the same skills,
if everything's equivalent, they find that the woman asks for 40% of what the male asks for. That's shocking. And that's something women are doing to themselves that we have to overcome, and we have to help women, and men if they lack the confidence, but women in particular, it seems to impact them most significantly and help them achieve the confidence so that they can reach the goals in their lives, because otherwise it's detrimental. It's detrimental to them.
So why do you think that is?
Limiting beliefs. They don't think that they're good enough or worthy.
Is it because someone has told them that in the past, or is it just, this is just how women think in general?
Typically, limiting beliefs start to develop when we're children. And what happens, it's like a snowball, right? It starts, and then as we go along in life, we just collect more and more evidence that it's the truth. And then you fast forward to, 30s, 40s, right? And these limiting beliefs, they really believe it's the truth. And so that is why people, they actually say that when they look at a job application or qualifications, that men look at the sheet and say, oh, I can do 2 or 3 of those. I'm going to give it a shot. Whereas a woman, if she can't check every single box,
she doesn't
try. She says, they're not going to, I'm going to be rejected. There's no point.
Right.
And so it's helping.
When you can learn those skills, probably. You can learn them.
You probably have them. Just feel confident.
Well, because we also look for perfectionism. Right? We want to be perfect before we put ourselves out there.
We need to take a break, so we'll be back. Up next, Nicole and Terrie will share more life coaching tips. We'll be right back after these very important public service announcements.